Yo, yo, what's up, everybody? Episode 12 of the NY Yankee Dad podcast, Tuesday, March 11th. This episode is brought to you by none other than your Bronx dentist. Come meet Dr. Rebbe and his team at two convenient locations in the Throgs Neck and Norwood sections of the Bronx. Schedule your appointment today at yourbronxdentist.com. So, we'll start off. This episode. Everyone knows the big news about our ace Garrett Cole. He underwent Tommy John surgery today. I didn't see, it's 10:24 right now. I didn't see any alerts yet of how the surgery went. We didn't get any of that anywhere from that point yet. I'm sure within the next few days or so. But Garrett Cole with Dr. Neil Elatrosh, the modern day, as you want to say, Dr. James Andrews. Back in the day, he was the guy that everyone went to for their Tommy John surgeries. But Dr. Neil Elatrosh is the elbow man now. And Garrett, after last year's appointment, they opted to do with his elbow problems last year, pretty much the same injury. But last year they opted rehab. This year, as Brian Cashman said, and it was the fear of the worst, and no way of sugarcoating it. The Tommy John surgery had to be done, and that road to recovery begins today. And 2025 season, Garrett will be out. Could be June, All-Star break of the 26th season. We'll see. Only time will tell. They were talking about was it the traditional Tommy John surgery in the elbow, or the internal brace where they kind of put an internal brace in there to keep the ligament in place. Brian Cashman said that would be up to the doctors when they opened him up in there and while they were doing surgery. But Garrett's gonna be gone for a little bit of time here. And then he said he will be involved behind the scenes, and it's like Clark Schmidt said after the game today, like adding another pitching coach. And don't get too crazy with the results of Clark today. He didn't do that great. He got a little hard, but the sinker showed at 95 at one point. He was throwing 93, 94. Just it was his first outing, and we know they said he was a little bit behind schedule, and the other reports of coming out. Max Fried might not be starting opening day. We'll find out in the next day or so who's going to be because he's not on track. Brian Hoke tweeted out as more of a scheduling thing, but there's 16 more days till opening day. You'd think you'd be able to get on on somewhat of a schedule, but let's see what they have to say. Could it be Rodon? Could it be Clark Schmidt? Those were a couple of names, but then the first thing that came to my mind with Clark was they said he was behind schedule, but let's see, 16 days. They'll let us know. Just you don't want to think anything, but let's just see. And the message from Garrett Cole, he posted this on his Instagram. This was last night. So, from the time I first dreamed of wearing the Yankee uniform, my goal was always to help bring a World Series championship to New York. That dream hasn't changed. I still believe in it, and I'm more determined than ever to achieve it. Today, the most respected medical experts in the field recommended that I undergo Tommy John surgery. This isn't the news any athlete wants to hear, but it's the necessary next step for my career. I have a lot to give. I have a lot left to give, and I'm fully committed to the work ahead. I'll attack my rehab every day and support the 2025 Yankees each step of the way. I love this game. I love competing. And I can't wait to be back on the mound stronger than ever. See you soon, G. There's the message from Garrett Cole, to the Yankee fans. And it's just big blow. I mean, yesterday, I wanted to come on and record last night. One I was still kind of shocked at everything. When I started to really think about it, and didn't want to just come on and really ramble on and be more reactionary. I wanted to kind of be able to absorb it, and I was a little bit tired too. The spring, the daylight saving times, the spring ahead kind of got me a little bit the past few days, but you know, it's um it's just kind of, you want to say depressing. It is. It's a shit. It's excuse me, but sucky situation, sucky situation for the Yanks. And I mean, you heard me, back in February when we were on our friend RJ's podcast, BD4. We were talking about how the Yankees go as Garrett goes, and you heard from me even say that I think we would need a Cy Young, type caliber season out of Garrett, and he's going to return to form. And just because he looks so good to me, to all of us down those 17 starts down the stretch, he was great, throughout the postseason. And then it's just, boom, after two starts and that bad spring start against the Twins, and here we are. And then worse, what makes it worse is Luis Gil, the rookie of the year, has the lat strain. He'll be out for at least 3 months. Um, could be longer. Only time will tell. And we know Clark had the similar injury last year to Luis. That Luis Gil had, and we didn't see him to September. So, you know, all the off-season rumors of Marcus Stroman swirling around, and now you don't really not too quick to talk about trading Stroh. You gotta kind of have to bring a couple arms maybe in. I mean, if you break it down, when certain the innings that are pitched from starting pitches. Now Garrett's always around, that pencil him in for 160 to 200 range, regularly. Um, so those innings are going to have to be eaten up somehow. I mean, you're not going to be able to replace Garrett Cole. You're not. There's no one on the free agency market. I mean, trade who's going to help the Yankees out right now on March 11th, when we're 16 days from opening day. You have the Dodgers and the Cubs starting next Tuesday, opening the season in Japan. So who's going to come to the Yankees right now knowing how decimated they are, and the team that's probably even still the crop of the American League, still at the top of the American League. Just they're closer to the rest of the pack, if you want to say. And even if you're into betting and all that stuff, and you see the Vegas odds, Yankees is still one of the favorites for the American League. It's just they're closer to the pack than what they've been. And still a playoff team when you break it down. That starting rotation, Max Fried, Carlos Rodon, Clark Schmidt, Marcus Stroman, and the fifth starter. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Will Warren? Is it going to be Carlos Carrasco? We'll find out. Warren still has an option, and Cookie has been pitching pretty good this spring, and ERA around 2, and a couple he's looked good in his few outings, and guys like non-roster invitee. Carrasco's a non-roster invitee. But another non-roster invitee who has an ERA under 2, Alan Winans, has been pretty good for the 7 or 8 innings that he's posted so far this spring. And Will Warren, we all know Will Warren, who reinvented himself this offseason and in the pitching lab with Matt Blake. And because he wasn't that great last year. I mean, I know it's easy to say. You see these 3 spring starts he had. He looked pretty good even, his last outing. And it's just, you kind of makes you think. I don't want to say fall into the trap of, spring training, but we've seen guys, not just on the Yankees, even on other teams, that they just go off in spring training. But, to be real guys that don't really, the performance of it don't really mean anything. I mean, the main thing is you want to get guys healthy, get their work in, and, health is the most important thing, because then we're dealing with something like we're dealing now. And there's a lot of different names. You hear Sandy Alcantara. Could it be someone like Eric Fetty from the St. Louis Cardinals, Alcantara from the Miami Marlins, and former former Cy Young pitcher himself. I mean, Sandy's coming off elbow injury, but this is now he's fully recovered, and you've seen how filthy and returned back to form he's looked. But Sandy would be a top of the rotation ace. It's just it comes to the point. The more I think about it, I'm just like, you know what? Rather than wanting Sandy, it would be great. What an addition Sandy would be, but just not to make somehow just don't let the Red Sox get him or even the Orioles. Now the whole thing is with the with the prospects now for a pitcher like Alcantara, he has some time left on his on his contract here. It's not just like an Eric Fetty who's a free agent at the end of the year, so the return would be a little different. Now Alcantara, if I'm not mistaken, he only cost about like 11.5 million towards the AAV for the roster, and it's I think for I think it's 17. It bumps up to maybe 20 or 21 million, his contract at the end of, but he has 3 more years left of it. But so you're looking at top prospect, maybe a few top prospects, in return for him. But that's not something that would be done now. That would be a trade deadline acquisition, and they announced today that it would be on the like the old days, July 31st, 6 p.m. In the past, with the collective bargaining agreements too, they some days, some years it was the 30th, sometimes August 1st, but back to the normal July 31st trade deadline. And we know the Yankees are gonna definitely be interested, or should be interested at that time to add. But from when Cashman was talking with Merida today, when he was talking at the during they had a split squad today. They played a home game against Baltimore and on the road in Bradenton. The game in Bradenton, the Yanks lost 9-1. Paul Skeens had 5 strikeouts. Trent Grisham did have a homer, solo shot off Skeens, and JC Escara had a nice base hit up the middle. It was a nice at bat. From what I saw of that game, it wasn't you know, O'Neill Cruz popped a homer, I believe, but Yanks fell to the Buccos 9-1, and at home, the home game today, we saw Clark make his first start of the spring, and came out saying how Max Fried isn't might not be pitching opening day. So who's going to be on opening day? And the names they threw out were Rodon and Schmidt. But it was my understanding, and that from what they last told us, Schmidt was a little behind schedule. He was set up. He's going to be set up to pitch the 6th game of the year. This was a few days ago. But now, we'll see who pitches opening day. And, to be honest, opening day is just one of 162. It's nice, you'll see the American League banner being raised if you're going on opening day. It's not the banner we want, but it's nice to see the American League Championship banner up, and it's a nice achievement and feat for the players. But everyone knows, it's not the end all be all what we're looking for. But it's just one of 162. It just has it has the bunting and the everything, all the glitz and glam. It's opening day. It should be that way, but in the end, it's one. It's just one bowl game. There's still a 161 left to go, and if Max Fried if it's a scheduling thing, fine. I mean, last year, if I remember correctly, we had the Yankees had Johnny Brito start. It was like the 3rd or 4th game of the season. So these things pop up. Just Booney was even saying how, it just comes to where, you got to next man up, kind of get together and, they got to find a way. It's not as if they're not going to be a competitive team. They're still one of the the top teams in what some say the weak American League. I mean, we know in division, I always like to consolidate it, in division, the AL East, because that's what we're dealing with standings. But just today, the Yankees aren't the only team dealing with injuries. The Boston Red Sox, Lucas Giolito will be starting on the injured list. Brian Bayo, Cutter Crawford has a knee issue going on. Um, Kyle Bradish had Baltimore. He had his he's recovering from Tommy John surgery. There's a few. Who else was there on? I know they have Charlie Morton now. Sugano, who is looking really good. The Japanese hurler that came over, the veteran Japanese hurler. But Baltimore is also dealing with some injuries too. Um, we know Charlie Morton they brought aboard, but who was? Let me see. I'm actually gonna look it up because now it's bothering me. Um, I was looking at them before. Give me 1 second. Thank you, Fangraphs. They brought in Eflin. Eflin's going to be a nice Kyle Bradish. Oh, it was Grayson Rodriguez. How could I forget Grayson Rodriguez? They announced it a few days ago. So it's not just us. And Grayson was one of their top prospects. We saw him come up last year. So Tyler Wells was another name of one of their pitchers. So it's not just it's not just the Yankees dealing with injuries. There's other teams too. Now, never count out Tampa Bay. They always find a way somehow. It just seems like they'll, and it'll just be worse, I guess, because they're playing in our spring training stadium down there. But that might be, could be an advantage for the Yanks. We're jumping ahead, but just to see, anything can happen when the games play out. On paper, it came into spring training, the Yankees looking like one of the best, definitely one of the best rotations in the American League, and just slowly started, dominoes started falling. Even like a guy like JT Brubaker, who worked his way back all last year, rehabbing. We heard about him, here and there sporadically. I even talked about him a little bit here and there, just from what I heard of, the organization talking about JT Brubaker, and they obviously, think and still think very highly of him. And he fractured a few ribs, getting out of the way of a comebacker. So it makes you think that he would have definitely been in the mix if he didn't go down. But just at some point he'll be back. He's not done for the season. But like we know, three Tommy John surgeries in the organization. Garrett Cole, youngster, one of the top five prospects, pitcher Chase Hampton, and another pitcher that was drafted, his name Thatcher Hurd is his name. That youngster, he was drafted out of LSU. He in the third round a few years ago. He's getting Tommy John surgery, and today in Bradenton we saw Cam Schlitter. He's a name that who's up until today he was having a great spring. He was sent down to minor league camp a few days ago, and today the Yankees sent down outfielders Everson Pereira and Spencer Jones. So, two names. Everson was a name that I thought maybe would be able to break camp with the ball club, but he's coming off Tommy John himself, so he hasn't really played the outfield yet. He's only been hitting, and some pop from the right side of the plate. He's been showing, so far this spring, kind of that maybe that bat belongs. But last year, or before the injury, before he got hurt, when he got hurt, when he came up, Pereira just kind of looked overmatched and with the competition. But so far this spring, he looks okay. But like we say, take the spring stats with a grain of salt. he'll be up at some point contributing. Booney talked about it, just might not be on the opening day roster. Now, could it be because of Clark not, saying he's not going to be ready if it's not, going to be him on the opening day roster, if he's not going to be ready till the sixth game, or even any other pitcher, they're going to want to carry an extra pitcher, with the off days, because they technically don't need a 5-man rotation the first go around. Could it be someone making the club right out of, just for the first couple games, series or so, for where they can send someone down, and the roster movement. It's just one game of 162. Yes, it's opening day, but it's one game of 162. You're going to see all the different, not roster manipulation, but moving guys around, who has options. Will Warren has options. He can go down. Doesn't mean we're not going to see him. If he doesn't crack the roster on the 26th, when right before they start up on the 27th, could the Yankees bring in Joel Sherman? If you follow Joel Sherman on his podcast, he was talking about his podcast Pitch Right Post. He was talking about how the Yankees could bring a bat in by the end of camp. Now, whether it's what kind of value of a bat, time will tell. But they're looking to bring in another bat, and now pitching is at a premium. But it's not. No one's really lining up, to trade the Yankees pitching now that Garrett Cole's hurt. I mean, they can go with the free agent market. There's guys like Lance Lynn, pitcher like Lance Lynn, and Kyle Gibson, who formerly of the Orioles. Another pitcher familiar with the American League. But these are guys who are, let's be real here. They're still free agents for a reason. It's not just all 30 teams think that they're not good enough to be on rosters right now. And we know what kind of pitchers they are, but they to be on rosters right now. Other teams, they'd be with other teams right now if even Patrick Corbin. But desperate times, call for desperate measures. And we had Lance Lynn a few years back, but it was a few years back. Is he really the same pitcher? We will find out. I mean, so we can make the same argument for Carlos Cookie Carrasco, but who's been looking good so far. It's just one of those things that you see the rundown of these names. Even a name like a former big time prospect with the Miami Marlins, Sixto Sanchez. He's another one of those pitchers that are available. And then there's some of the guys dealing with their injuries. You have like Spencer Turnbull, who was hurt last year towards the end with the postseason. And so guys like you see their names available out there like that, but only time will tell which way the Yankees are going to go. Could be external. Could they pick up one of these arms or trade for someone who's out of options? Pick up an arm of another non-roster invitee, maybe someone they wanted or had interest in before they accepted the non-roster invite from another club. Could they not be making the team? It's the guys that crack the roster on opening day doesn't mean that they're going to be there, the whole season. But it's just it's the draw of knowing who's going to be on the team. But with them, it just brings you back now. With Garrett Cole being hurt, what is the plan? It seems as if they're going to be going internally. Right now, it came out. Buster Olney was on Michael Kay, and it came out shortly after that. All the figures, the Yankees of having insurance on Garrett Cole's contract, so he's making $36 million for the 2025 season. It's it was showed that they have coverage for 75% of that, so $27 million. And then with them being over the the Steve Cohen $301 million luxury tax, they're at like 308 right now. I think it said 307 or 308. So they're already over in the 110%. So whether now it comes down to whether you're like $5 over, or just to make it simple, or 5 million over. At that point, it doesn't really make a difference. But it's maybe the Yankees get the payroll, with the trades and stuff, and with the trades, the impending trades for the deadline, and keeping the budget down until then, because basically after taxes it gives them, with Garrett Cole's contract, about 13 and a half million to sort of play around with, to keep the budget the same as it is now. That if they were going to go for a trade or signing, but like we said, with signing someone, it's not really, it's almost not the scrap heap, but it's March 11th. Camp's broken, 16 days till opening day. The free agents available. Pretty much kind of ask yourself, what are they holding out for? But desperate times call for desperate measures. But you know, out of those guys, if I had to pick one, if you asked me if I had to pick one, I would probably lean towards Lance Lynn, just because we know, he's pitched here before, and I'm sure he would like that the beard policy is lax now, because he had to shave his beard when he came here, a few years back. Good, he's nice relationship with CC. So you never know, but I think it's going to come. It's going to be one of these names that that comes off of another non-roster invite, and the Yanks are going to come out and say, "Oh, they had their eyes on him, this and that." But they're going to need all the help they can get. Someone's going to have to, or a few guys are going to have to pick up the innings. Like we said, Cole, we said 180, 170, 180, close to 200 innings that he was going to, be set to rack up. So those innings have to be eaten up by someone. And, whether it's going to be someone like Carlos Carrasco for a little bit or a lot of it, Will Warren, is he ready to take that next leap? Sure looks like it now in spring, but, got whacked around those last starts last year. Someone like Alan Winans, as we were saying, could it be Eric Leal, someone they signed, a pitcher they signed from the Mexican League, from the Diablos, who they played, same team they played the exhibition with right before last season in Mexico. Eric Leal. It's it's going to be real interesting. Going to be real interesting. Everyone wants him to go out and make the big splash, but right now, it's most likely not realistic. Um, and then just breaking down the team, there's still a playoff team, like we were saying, still one of the top teams in the American League. Yeah, maybe it'll be a little more difficult, but the main competition, everyone's talking, even me, talking about Boston being good, and they made great moves throughout the offseason. They brought in Alex Bregman. Rafael Devers still hasn't made his, spring training debut yet. Every team is dealing with injuries. The Orioles are young. They didn't go out and spend like, we thought they were going to spend with the new owner. And like, the Rays are always going to raise, so you never know with them. And Toronto, I mean, with Toronto, they brought in Santander, Jeff Hoffman, for the bullpen, Andres Jimenez, second base, just to name a few. So, even the Blue Jays, they were in on Soto. They're, like we always talk about, they're in on every free agent, but something usually happens, throughout the season, throughout the off season. Toronto doesn't get their guy, but the season got to play out. If Toronto is Toronto going to be in contention? If they're not in contention, they have impending free agents on that team. Vlad Guerrero Jr. is going to be a free agent at the next season. Bo Bichette. So these are guys that could be on the move now with pitching. Could the Yankees, maybe wait it out? Like if like we're saying here, if the Blue Jays are out of it, could Kevin Gossman be had? Jose Barrios, Chris Bassett, just a few names. You just got to see how the season plays out, and from basically what it sounded to me, with Cashman when he was talking today that to me it sounded like they're gonna wait and evaluate to see, where the team's at when it comes to July, the summertime, June, July. Um, how all in, or what positions are they going to need to upgrade, and what upgrades on the team, what's going to be needed then. I mean, right now, what we need, but it seems as if the Yankees don't want to jump at it right now, just because it's just not available. It's just not available at the moment. Why would the Yankees want to take on a contract like Nolan Arenado? You can forget about Stroman being traded now. Um, I would be shocked if they moved him now, but without getting some kind of pitching compensation back. But just with the state of the rotation right now, and it also makes you wonder about the bullpen. In the bullpen, they brought in Devin Williams at the back end, but with an injury like Cole, is the bullpen going to have to pick up more of the slack now? And we know the Yankees, that's definitely one of their strong points. Um, bringing in a guy like Fernando Cruz with his swing and miss stuff, and just to see who's going to be that second lefty in the bullpen. Is there going to be one? Could it be like a guy like Brent Hedrick, or could he be a starter? Just what guys, as we said, what other teams non-roster invites guys with no more options. Just like a few years ago, we traded for Jose Trevino. It was a few days before the season, trading for your starting catcher. So only time will tell. It's just we know, unfortunately, the injuries that the Yankees are dealing with. It's been brutal. I mean, let's just be real here now. I mean, the Yankees injuries, it's what a terrible spring training so far. I mean, let's just be real here. I mean, it's horrible. You want to get excited, with baseball being 16 days away, but now the icing on the cake with Garrett. But once Luis Heel went down, that was the gut. This is the gut punch, but that got me down to one knee, if you want to say. And when they said that, it was just where is the slack going to be picked up? Where is the slack going to be picked up? I don't want to say I don't believe in the names that they're telling us, but when you lose a name like Garrett Cole, it's just it's hard. It's a tough pill to swallow. But got to play the ball games. Like we said, everybody else is dealing with injuries too. We're 16 days away. Yankees are off tomorrow. Grapefruit League off day for the Bombers, and just hoping that we can return to form, being the Bombers, and it's going to be different look lineup, but so far, it's looking like it's shaping out pretty good, and we've seen Austin Wells lately at the top. Little unorthodox, but he's been having some pop. Three home runs that he's had. Um, Batting at the top of the order in spring. It's just the only thing that I think of is the road games with the catcher's equipment. But hey, Yankees never had a catcher lead off before. If Wellesley can do it, why not? Judgy back in the two hole, most likely be DHing a little more with Stanton. Giancarlo, who we didn't even jump into. Um, just got so caught up with the Garrett injury, and even with Stanton now with Giancarlo, you're losing Giancarlo's bat. It's his first for his sake. It's his first opening day. With all the injury history that he had, it's his first opening day that he's missing. Um, so you kind of feel for Big G, but one of those guys that, yeah, he has his injury problems, during the regular season, but when it comes down to it in that postseason and when the games count, Giancarlo comes through. So it's a big, big loss. It's a big presence in the middle of the order. I mean, it puts a lot of pressure on pitchers seeing that name and that guy, that gargantuan standing in the batter's box, and knowing the damage that he can do, and just he's not going to be there with for the foreseeable future with the with the team. There's no no timetable for his return. He was set to have PRP injections. He had his third round yesterday, Monday, and they said that Michael Kay was saying on his show that he's heard it could be multiple rounds even after. Could it be another fourth round of PRPs? So that's why there's no timetable for his return right now with that elbow tendonitis in both elbows. And you feel for G. I mean, you hear things that they said that he can't even grip things normally. So it's for everyday life, not just it's Giancarlo Stanton's not just the guy who swings the bat over 80 miles an hour and hits home runs in October. They're human beings. Even same thing for Garrett Cole, and you just feel for the guys. Luis Heel, he was on top of the world, rookie of the year, comes to camp, working all winter, and then boom. And but next man up, just like how he made something out of himself last year. Who's going to have the opportunity to do that this year? Who's going to do it? And I always worry about the offense too. Pitching. Yankees emphasize pitching, run prevention, defense. But we always say you can't win if you don't score runs. So the lineup. What's it going to be? We've Goldschmidt, how with him being the age that he's 37, we know the type of player he used to be, or is it just that we're kind of just scarred the past few seasons with as much as we loved Anthony Rizzo, just as a person and as the athlete that he was, just he wasn't cutting it here with the Yankees the past few years, and had injury history of his own. But not just Rizzo, not just to kind of single him out for the position. The Yankees, since they brought in Mark Teixeira in '09, and then since he finished out his contract, they haven't really had anything solid or so anything solidifying at first base. It's kind of just been, a revolving door. And, we even saw, Ben Rice a little bit there last year when Riz was hurt. And just the production just hasn't been there for first base. And you just think that it's a position that is supposed to have a slugger, a position of production, and a position you fear in the lineup. And because you just think of the first basemen that we had in the past, and just where did the Yankees veer off from that? That's not wishing Goldie does his thing this year, but it's where what is the future of the position? What does the future of the position hold? Jazz moving to his more natural second base. Year 3 for Anthony Volpe, which is a big one. Big one for any year 3 for any player is a big one, and this is really going to show us what type of player he is. As of right now, it's Oswaldo Cabrera. Oswald Peraza, has been getting a shot at third base too. Could it be a platoon? It's just for Peraza, who was formerly a Yankee top prospect. It's just not. Doesn't seem like it's his bat is just not cutting it. He can definitely field. Field the position great. Play shortstop, even some second, but it's just the bat's not cutting it. There hasn't really been any pop. A lot of ground balls. We're seeing guys like Dom Smith really doing his thing. A former first round pick, Dominic Smith, was actually drafted ahead of Aaron Judge by the New York Mets, believe it or not, in that 2014 draft, I believe it was. And he was picked like 11th. I think the 11th in that draft. But Dom Smith has really been doing his thing. 10 double-digit RBIs. I mean, yeah, it's spring training, but the guy's putting bat to ball. And, he has that pedigree that we talked about. The Yankees love those former top prospects who, didn't really, come out according to what was originally planned and what type of player they were. So could Dom Smith be a part of this team? Who's going to be on the bench? If Oswaldo is the third baseman, you lose that utility role. Could it be a non-roster invite like Pablo Reyes? We're going to find out. The backup catcher, J.C. Escara, has really been showing, really nice fielder. You can see he's a hitter. The only problem is He's a left-handed hitter. So the Yankees want to go with two left-handed hitting catchers. I think you can never have enough left-handers. I know they need a right-handed bat now, but Yankees were always built off left-handers who can hit. And just Ascara just seems like one of those guys going into his, would be his age 30 rookie season. The way that guy swings, he just looks like he belongs. So kind of rooting for him to get the backup catcher job. We'll find out in a little over 2 weeks. It's just that big blow to Garrett Cole. Maybe we'll be coming on for a big splash, or let's just go. Hopefully at some point I'll be coming on giving you guys an alert, nice reaction video for a trade. But maybe we'll have to wait till July. The Yankees are going to have to make the trades. 1, 2, 3. Just makes you think. Last year they could have did a little bit more too, or could they? Just want to see them with that. Let's just be real. The urgency, that sense of urgency. I mean, you lost your ace. You're not gonna replace him. Even a guy like Giancarlo, there's no one available right now that could replace Giancarlo Stanton for what he brings to the lineup, and definitely no one can replace Garrett Cole right now. So it just seems like we're just gonna have to wait. Just we're gonna have to wait till July. The Yankees always make moves. They always make moves. It's something, or they always try to make moves. It's something that you don't have to worry about. They're not gonna be like a team like the Pittsburgh Pirates, who has a pitcher like Paul Skeens, and refuse to build around that. I mean, the Yankees, Hal spends a lot of money on the payroll. It's not the most, or not as much as everyone would like, based off of how we see, according to all the reports that come out of the budget and how much money they're making. It's always easy to spend someone else's money, but let's just see what the Yankees are going to do here. um, a lot of us, most of us, all of us know what they should be doing, but let's see. The game's got to play out. 162 is a long season, real long season, and we haven't even gotten there yet. But 16 more days. If you're listening to this tomorrow, 15 more days. So almost there. Almost there. Get well soon, Garrett. Get well soon, G. Giancarlo. Get well soon, Luis Heel. Hopefully, Big G and Luis will see them sooner rather than later. Quick recoveries, because these are key cogs, key guys, that we need. We need to bring us back to where we belong, and it's going to be a fun ride this season. Let me know what you guys think. It's just let me know what you guys think of spring training so far. Who are some names that you've been following that you want to see make the ball club? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. You'll see this will be up on video form on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify. Have a great night, everyone. God bless. And as always, go Yankees. I'll talk to you.